All we do is win, 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 no matter what.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no one knows the words after that. You kind of always trails off.
Exactly. It's very early. The guys are about to hit the road to Huntsville.
Because all we do is win.
Yeah, exciting times at Liberty, especially with basketball.
Let's go, baby.
We have swept the CUSA title. Men and women bring home the regular season crown. But what matters
Champs.
most is what's going down in Huntsville.
Yeah.
Here the next week, I'm already anxious.
You're a nervous wreck.
I am so nervous because I want this regular season championship to matter and to count.
Huntsville, Alabama,
Gosh.
most engineers in one place in all of America. Did
True.
you know that?
Big party city.
Yeah.
Big
You
party
get those engineers out of the
I'm gonna tell you
town.
what.
Yeah. Rocket City.
those-
Yeah,
Rocket City.
It's Rocket City.
great.
That bottom line is those nerds know how to party.
Oh my gosh.
Hopefully they know how to
Matt
watch
Warner.
basketball.
Yeah,
Hopefully
we'll
they
fit right in.
Yeah.
We'll fit right in.
Yeah, you'll fit right in.
Yeah.
You two.
I'm
You
sorry.
two animals in
Yeah.
Huntsville.
Yeah.
You two
Out
guys.
of control.
You two in Huntsville.
Yeah.
With those engineers.
Non-stop.
Watch out.
We're
Yeah.
never seeing him again.
Watch
And we're
out.
obviously talking about our guest. I'm so sorry for the delayed introduction. Paul Nazigan for the first time on the Flame Central
Yes.
podcast this season.
Yes.
Great
So
to be
great
back.
to have
Yeah.
you. So we're going to break down on the men's side the CUSA championship and how everything ironed out with the seeding. But first, I want to talk a little bit about Liberty on the men's side and what this season meant and what this regular season crown means. Naz, my question to you is, what's the significance of a regular season championship, especially with what all Liberty has been through to start the regular season schedule?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of two parts. Like what it means on the court is one thing, but I'm glad you started there because you can't skip over the fact and the job that Coach McKay did this year and the guys did this year. I mean, you talk about going into Conference USA last year and getting adjusted, and then this year how we saw just how tough it was, and to maybe a little bit of a slow start.
Right. 2 and 3. Yeah.
To regroup.
Right.
Lose,
Isaiah Enan down?
Yes, lose Enan, formulate a plan, and then just to go all the way to the end and win it. You cannot understate it. It's a huge accomplishment in the 8th or 9th toughest conference in the nation. I mean, look at where Liberty stands right now. It's amazing. It's an incredible job. Hopefully, there's more things to celebrate. But if it just ended today, unbelievable job by Coach McKay and the guys.
Yeah.
Matt, would you say this surprised you if you look back to that 2 and 3 start? Because I know there were a lot of people calling for Coach McKay's job. So I think, that might have settled down.
Yeah.
So what we're,
Yeah.
you know.
Give it another game. Those types fire those things up real quick.
Oh, man.
But no, yeah, I mean, after the slow start, and Isaiah Enan, I think they thought was going to be such a huge part of this team and gave them such an advantage. And we saw how impactful he was early in the season. This wasn't just losing some it's some freshman that we think can be good. This was one of their best players, and he was getting better every game out. And so to lose him in the middle of the season, then have to kind of figure out what are we going to do? We're going to have to play small more. At that point, you didn't really know what you had in Talon Peter. You thought he was going to be a good player, but he was coming off a summer where he didn't get to play. And so you're like, man, I hope this kid becomes what we hope he can be because we don't have a whole lot of other options.
Would you say he did?
I think he did.
I think
he did.
Yes. Exceeded expectations.
I think he did. And so to have to change all that on the fly is huge. And then just to kind of prove, I don't know that Richie McKay needed to prove it to himself, but I think just to prove to everybody else that okay, we can make the adjustment. Yeah. 1 year ago, we were sitting here saying, boy, there's some flaws, right? They're very skilled, but there's some major flaws that are going to give Liberty a hard time in this conference. And they addressed all of those in one off season. And now you've seen the results of the system that McKay has in place on both ends of the floor.
Right.
Now with a little more size and athleticism, there's no question it can work. And we're seeing that this year. We saw it. The proof is in the long haul of the regular season title.
Going off that, we always talk about defense with Coach McKay, but offensively, it seems like this team has really taken it to another level, especially these last 3 games.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we were talking about this on our podcast. I think the conference was ready for Matheny and Cleveland, and then they'll have another guy.
Yeah.
I think that's what, and you have to account for, that's a lot to account for already, but to bring in the job that they did to bring these guys in, and then you got Talon Peter, and you're just like, they don't know what to
He
do.
turned into the guy.
Yeah.
He went from another guy to the guy.
And he's not even
the
a
guy
starter.
coming
Yeah.
off the bench. So it's like,
Right.
how do you know, it's funny, you always see your own flaws, but
Right.
like put yourself in the shoes of the other coaches in the conference. I don't know how you account for all the guys that could possibly score and have shown that on a different night it could be a different guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, just pick your poison and hope, I guess you kind of hope they're not hitting threes or run them off the line and hope they, throw it away or so it's like there's just too many things to account for. Not to say they're, unbeatable,
Right.
but it's a lot. And so Peter's a big part of that. But just adding another piece is not just the answer. It's like we talk about it all the time. Like, you got to be unselfish. You got to have trust in your team. Like, to just add a great piece, that sometimes throws teams off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been seamless, and the guys love each other and trust each other. That's why they're scoring so well on top of playing really good D still.
So as you head into a conference tournament, and then you're thinking about the NCAA tournament, win, all that kind of stuff. And they always say that in March it's the great guards that really matter. If you had your choice, Naz, between like great guard play and dominant big man, which one would you pick as you go into? To you. Which one do you pick as you go into a tournament?
I always think, during the season, I love when teams have a dominant big man. But you're exactly right, Joe. When you get to turn play, we've seen, and you can take out a big guy a little easier than great guards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know we may get to this. That's why I worry about Kennesaw State,
Right.
because they have two guards that are just really phenomenal. You cannot get the ball out of their hands. They're going to do stuff. Whereas we've seen in this league, people have taken Bacho out of games.
Yeah.
Right.
People have taken Mustafa out of games because you can play, you can trap. You can play man and a half down in the post, and it's so far from the ball. You can really pressure the guards so that it's easier for them just to go get a shot rather than pass it into the post. So it's a great point. I think that's why Jacksonville State is good as well. Great guard play.
Yeah.
And so I think you're going to see that in the tournament.
Okay, we're going to break down each of these teams, but quick question to kind of conclude on Liberty. What is the concern level of Caden Matheny right now offensively in terms of not really hitting shots? I'm not being negative. I'm just like, is that because you have guys like Talon Peter stepping up and Javon Moffmer coming in and knocking down 5 or 6 triples? Like,
I guess, like, honestly, to tell you the truth, I hadn't even really thought about that.
Right. You don't notice it.
I don't think it's a huge concern for me. My bigger concern has been, they gave up 80 plus in 2 of their last 3 games on the defensive end. Yeah. So that would be, if you're like, what's your biggest concern for Liberty going in? Is there a reason? Like, what's the reason for that? More so than anything else. Okay. I think Caden will be off. He's had some ups and downs throughout this season.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's just waiting to get hot for the tournament.
I'm not concerned.
Yeah.
I did that too. Yeah. Just kidding. All right, so we covered number 1 seed Liberty. Let's go on to Jacksonville State. The reason they landed in second is because your Owls that you just mentioned beat Jack State on Saturday. So Jack State in that number 2 seed. Obviously, the Flames just took them down a couple Thursdays ago. What do you see that worries you, or it looks good about the Gamecocks?
Well, you asked about your concern in Matheny. My concern going into the tournament, just in general, is dribble penetration, and it kind of goes to the guard play. Like, again, I won't go off on, I'm really, the way college basketball is going, where they're not letting people play defense, where I can just ram into you and use my arm and swipe. Like, they're just letting guards and as well as that's been sort of a susceptible point for us over the year. You get in these tournaments, and sometimes they don't call a lot of fouls, and they just let people play. And if they're just going to let good guards, and Jacksonville State counts, Kennesaw State, they're just going to let those guys ram in and swipe you off, and it's like that could really hurt us. So that's my concern on Liberty's end.
Before you go, Matt, I'm wondering if I should go based on Liberty's bracket on the top first, and then we go down instead of going from one to.
We can do
you
that.
tell that it's
Yeah,
really
let's do
early,
that.
you guys? So
That's
I
right.
typically produce like 5 minutes before the show.
Yeah.
I didn't even have 5
Yeah,
minutes.
this is on the fly. UTEP Sam Houston.
Yeah, UTEP Sam Houston. Liberty will play the winner of that.
Yes, scary as all get out. That matchup, and I think
Coach McKay sounded like that. After
Yes,
when
right.
they
Did
told
you
him.
hear that? They told Richie like live. He was doing the post game thing with Allen.
man.
He's like, "Who we get? Do we know?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's the winner of UTEP Sam Houston." He's like, "Oh, those are good teams." Like, yes, they are. In fact, and I think that the draw, at least initially, for the 2 seed Jacksonville State is friendlier than what Liberty got. And maybe you don't want to see Western Kentucky back-to-back games. I don't know, but UTEP Sam Houston. Sam Houston's the 9 seed. They are scary. They've won 5 of 7. They've won their last 2 ball games. They have Lamar Wilkerson, maybe the best player in this conference. If their record was better, he might be the conference player of the year.
Right.
He's been that good, averaging 20 points per game. And then you have UTEP, who's given Liberty fits over the years, last couple of years, knocked us out of the tournament last year. Their defense seems to give us problems. They turn people over at a high rate. They're struggling. I think it's 7 straight now they've
7
lost.
straight, yeah.
So they're scuffling going in. But one of these teams, whoever Liberty plays, feels like they fixed everything if you're UTEP because you've got to win. Or if you're Sam Houston, you say, well, we're rolling now, 3 straight wins.
Cinderella.
Yeah, right. So that's either one's going to have confidence. UTEP also made it to the conference championship game last year. Right. So if they win one, they're like, here we go again.
Yeah,
This
with
is
all
what
those
we do.
guys that were,
right.
they brought a whole bunch back.
Yeah, with Otis Frazier and all those guys. So that is going to be a huge test for Liberty right out of the gate. And
yeah, we were saying we just hope they just beat each other up.
right.
And it's a
if
double
you're Liberty,
overtime.
that's what you have to hope for.
So they can turn around the next day and have to play again.
And that will be, in terms of like the games that we're calling, that is a game, you're like an 8-9, whatever. I am really looking forward to, because that is going to be super physical. And yeah, they're going to beat each other up, but that's scary. I think
Sam Houston
they're
State
scary.
advances. Flames for Sam Houston.
Here's the
State.
thing.
That's on.
Matt,
you heard it first.
Hey,
Yeah.
You heard it first.
Yacht Talk did call
He did
the
call
conference
Western Kentucky.
championship or the conference champion last year.
How many leagues in the country are you talking about the second to last place team as being scary in the tournament?
That's
how many?
wild.
Probably not any.
Yeah.
But they are awfully scary. They're awfully scary.
Yeah,
So it will be tough.
congratulations
Well, I'm
on
glad
winning the
my-
tournament. You get to play one
right.
of those two.
You get to
Yeah.
play maybe the team that's playing, outside of Liberty and Middle Tennessee, the best in the league right now.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have anxiety about this conference
That helping,
championship. Yeah. Okay, so let's just continue on from there with Liberty's bracket on the top. I'm going to put, on.
Will you put the bracket up?
I'll put the bracket
Yeah,
up every
yeah,
time we talk about it.
What a producer.
Would be the game between Kennesaw State and New Mexico State. What do you guys think about these two teams?
Yeah, it's interesting
You
because
mentioned
they're
the
two
guard
different
play.
styles. Like Kennesaw is really hot offensively, and New Mexico State, they have the best field goal percentage defense, and so that could be just that battle of wills and styles of who comes out of it. For us to play either one of those, it's unique in each how we'd have to game plan for each of those.
But success against both this season.
Yeah, and
we swept New Mexico State, split with Kennesaw.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Liberty's versatility would show up. We can play in a low-scoring defensive grind. We've done that, and that would be right up our alley. Or we've shown that we can score and play a little more open and up-tempo. If it turns out to be Kennesaw State, you have to play well. Whichever one it turns out to be, you're going to have to play well. But, I like our chances.
One interesting thing about that, so we talked all season long about how important it would be for Liberty to get a top 2 seed. So if you win, you get a day off. And even though Richie McKay refused to buy into that, that didn't matter.
And then Matt had to go and dig and numbers that matter.
But
and
I do
all
think-
the players with the starters, with the minutes.
I do think
and
it's
all
important,
that.
and Liberty got that. And here's another reason. Because whoever wins that Kennesaw State and New Mexico State game, that's a 6:30 Eastern time. Then they flip around and play at 12:30 the next day. So it's not even, you don't even get 24 hours.
Oh, prep.
An extremely quick turnaround. So that is where you could see that advantage show up. Because again, this is a physical league.
Yes.
These games take it out of you. We've seen it throughout the year. Teams, especially teams that go on the road, were a lot more successful on that Thursday game than they were the Saturday. You know what I mean? Because it takes it out of you. The other thing, and Naz brought it up, and I hope he'll bring it up on our broadcast this week because it was one of his great points a year ago. last year we saw them, they didn't call much.
Yeah.
Like the officials are basically like,
Let him play.
you
Let 'em
boys
play.
figure it out.
Okay.
Like let's figure it out in there.
Yeah.
And so I think the physicality is going to take even more out of a team than what a normal regular season game would, because they're going to let things go. And so that is one thing to watch. If Liberty can get by that first game, they get that opponent on an extremely short
Tight
turnaround,
turnaround,
and Liberty
yeah.
will have had a little extra rest. So that is, I think, key for Liberty and the way they're built.
First
Gotta
round.
get-
you
yeah, I
gotta
mean,
get
you
you gotta get past that first round, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and call it right now. We're just jumping right to it.
Do it, Joe. Everybody's waiting for this.
Everybody's
Why
waiting.
beat around the bush?
It's early,
Everybody
but-
wants to know. Yak talk. His prediction. What is it?
Because at the end of the day,
Do we have headgear? Is this the court? Can we do Corso style?
Because at the end of the day, all you have to do is just tell the people, ask the people on the streets, and you just say to them, "Hey, where'd you hear it first?"
Right.
And they all say "Yak Talk, baby."
Talk, baby.
Okay, so
Every one of them.
this game, this conference championship
Yeah.
is coming down. The championship game. It's the Liberty Flames.
Okay.
I'm calling that one right now. That one's easy.
Yeah.
It's the Liberty Flames versus Jacksonville State.
Oh,
Oh.
really?
It's Jack
The
State.
one and the two.
Okay.
It's the 1 and the 2. It's the top
Wow.
dogs going at it,
Okay.
battling out. And I'm going to tell you something right now, because I went to that I was at that Jacksonville
Yeah.
Stadium playing, and it was like a tale of two halves, as you both
Mm-hmm.
know. Jacksonville State scares me because of when they decide to just, all right, we're just going to go athletic with you, right, and get the ball up to the rim, and maybe not take the best of shots, but we're just going to get it up to the rim, hit some shots, get to the rim. You saw in the second half in their comeback what they were capable of. They only scored 16 points in the first half, and and they
That was
played.
rough.
And here's the things that are tough in any sport, right? Is when the more film you get on somebody, the more you can figure out how to beat them,
Yeah.
right? That goes for both sides, whether that's Richie, whether that's Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State's recipe was first half, like, we're going to run a bunch of sets, we're going to play, do all these different things, and they scored 16 points. Second half, they're like, let's freestyle a little bit
street
more.
ball.
Let's street ball. Let's get up. Let's make shots, get up
That
to the rim.
street ball does
And
scare
so-
me against
They're
Liberty.
last in the league in assists. Yeah,
I
they're
think
just like,
that
take it.
game right there is what it's going to come down to, and it's going to be interesting from Liberty's standpoint, is they realize that that's most likely what they're going to do. Rebounding, defensive rebounding, all those things.
Offensive rebounding
And
is what
offensive
scares me.
rebounding, defensive rebounding, and then the Flames scrap, claw, hit the shots that win it. We're going dancing, baby.
Okay.
The Liberty, I didn't say it last year.
Yeah, you
the
didn't.
Liberty
Yeah.
Flames are going
Yeah.
dancing.
I think it's going to be Liberty, Middle Tennessee.
That's what I think as well.
But I do agree with you. I'm going with the Flames. There's something special about this team this year that makes it really exciting. I don't know. And I don't know if you guys think that they're playing the best ball going into this tournament, but they just feel and look so connected. I
think-
know Matt's a little worried defensively.
I think offensively, this is probably the best that they've played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much does it worry both you guys defensively that through the course of a tournament, like, will they be able to hold up and hold teams off well enough to be able to win a championship? Especially when it's got to be frustrating for the staff and the players, because Liberty's known and Richie's known as such a defensive guy. So you know what those film room sessions are like they're not pleasant when you get 80-some points scored. So how concerned are you as you go into this that they're not playing top level defense?
Yeah, it's interesting because they're playing great perimeter defense. I mean, they lead the league in three-point defense. So it's like, that's how a team can catch up.
Yeah.
Now some of these teams, it's interesting, in this league this year aren't great three-point shooters, but Liberty's really defending the arc. So it kind of goes back, again, the thing I worry about is they do play great defense, but ball penetration is really going to be a concern. If they can clean that part up, I think they have the three-pointer covered.
And one other note on if Liberty gets to Kennesaw State, we know their two guards are electric. They're also the top rebounding team in the conference. And in that first meeting with them down there, they just crashed the heck out of the glass. And offensive rebound, the top offensive rebounding team as well. So like that, it's not just the guards. Sometimes for them, a missed shot is their offense, right? Because then they're going and getting it. And so that will be key too, because that has been an area at times Liberty has been a little bit susceptible.
Yeah, and I can't argue against, I mean, it could be Jacksonville State, but I sort of am Middle Tennessee. And again, that's why I think us going down there that was just a huge game.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from the, what it led to. But they're really good. You look at them, and Mustafa is the real deal in the post.
Yeah,
I mean, he had 30 and 20.
30 and 20.
And that's a little bit, you know, that was, you know, he's not going to repeat that, but he's a double-double. He's a big guy to account for. And then they have great guards around them, too. So they could be there, too. But I agree. I think it's going to be Liberty in the final game, and then
it is interesting. One other thing, real fast.
Yeah. I don't want you guys missing your flight.
Yeah, I know. You have Liberty, a lot of older players, right? And guys that have done it, maybe not at this level, but have played a lot of basketball. Middle Tennessee, very veteran team. Western Kentucky, they had 12 or 13 seniors on senior day. A lot of them can come back still, but they're an old team. Kennesaw State, who is, you know, just went on the road and beat the top 2 seeds last 2 games, very young. So kind of the other extreme. So that part of it will be interesting to see is, do we get one of these old teams that comes out? Jacksonville State, they've got some youth as well in their starting lineup. So it's like, will it be one of these old teams and all the experience? Or is it some of these young squads that just don't even know any better?
But you've seen young squads like that, not only at the NCAA level, but at the NBA level, have success because you're just naive, really, in any sport.
Yeah, you don't know.
You just, like, you don't know what to expect.
Roll and play
kind
ball,
of like
baby.
Washington Commanders this year. Like, they're just like, oh, okay, like, Jayden Daniels just doesn't know what to expect. You're a little naive, but you just have
they got
that
nothing to lose,
confidence.
and sometimes the senior guys get a little nervous.
You're like, this could be my last time, and so you tighten up a little bit.
You have flowers you're handing out, the parents, you're crying in the locker room.
So anything that you guys want to mention about that bottom bracket? We didn't really discuss WKU, FIU, but we discussed the Jack State, Middle Tennessee.
I got just one thing to say, and it's the last game that we'll call. I'm already calling it the Clash of Titans because you get Daniel Bacho,
oh boy,
Issam Mustafa, the 2 best bigs in this league, going at it. That's gonna be just awesome to see those 2 dudes just about Issam Mustafa. Yeah. So it's gonna be.
I wonder why they didn't call me to like be sidelined, and then I'm like listening to these names, and I'm like, no wonder they didn't.
I think that's gonna be that's gonna be a really fun game to see. And Louisiana Tech has been a team. They were preseason favorite. Bacho's preseason player of the year. They've underperformed. They've been hugely inconsistent. They could win that game or lose by 25. You don't know what you're going to get.
Somebody of all these, you know, the teams in the first round or even them, somebody is going to kind of break out of this crazy slump and the year's disappointment. Somebody will snap out of it, and a great coach will have some kind of motivation to, guys, it's a new season, and it'll be very interesting. It could very well be them, because if they can just I mean, the combo of Bacho and Newman is...
They have the talent.
They have the talent. And
so that's... your sleeper will be La Tech. Your sleeper, Sam Houston. Who do you have your sleeper?
Boy. I mean, I guess I would say... I'll just say this. I don't think they're going on a long run or anything.
Go Utah.
But don't sleep on FIU winning that first game. I know we've written them off as being the worst team all year long.
You're exactly right.
They did it last year. They ended up upsetting Jack State in their first game. Western Kentucky has more talent, certainly, even with them being banged up.
You know that shoot around, if they get that music
I'm telling you, FIU shoot around was like going to the club.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
It was like you're on the playground in Miami.
You talk about party, like their shoot around. I was just like, did I just go into another dimension?
I turn around, Naz has his shirt above his head. I'm like, where did this come from? It was great.
Like
Naz, did you just take your shirt off?
Like no shoot around I've ever seen, but he gives those guys freedom.
I can tell.
And here's the thing, like the beat down that Liberty put on WKU, who knows what their mental state is coming in. FIU could win that first one.
And think of this, FIU took Jack State to double overtime just a couple games ago, didn't they?
They
did.
So,
they got nothing to lose.
Man, the madness is here. Guys, tell quickly the story about last year when you guys were just sitting there waiting to get on your flight.
Okay, so hopefully we got to take off to Charlottesville. Hopefully we don't have this.
It's a great story.
We're flying out of, was it Richmond last year?
No, Roanoke.
Roanoke. So we get to Roanoke. We're sitting there. And I'm like, oh, let's look at whatever flight leaves in 20 minutes. And we're sitting there just waiting for a flight. And Naz like, oh, let me look at whatever. And all of a sudden, I just see Naz go, like, looking up at the sign. And he's like, what time does your flight say?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, mine says, like, it's, 11:30. We leave in, like, 45 minutes or whatever. He's like, mine says 8:30 or whatever. It was like,
like
we
I
didn't
missed
know.
my flight.
They booked us on 2 different flights.
Naz was at the shoot around, and he missed his flight.
We had never been told that we were on different flights.
So
the two of you were on different
Yes, they
flights.
booked us
So we're
on
both
different flights
sitting
and
there.
never told us.
Yes.
Newman.
So we go up to the gate.
So I'm like, we're gonna have to drive.
Yeah.
Or like Naz,
Yeah,
or
we
what
didn't
are we
know-
gonna
we
do?
didn't know
How
what we
many
were
flights
doing.
go to
So funny.
Huntsville?
Yeah. So we go up to the gate and we tell the guy what happened. And he's asking us, what are we doing? And we're going to Huntsville. We're calling the Conference USA basketball tournament. And
That
the guy
meant
was like,
nothing to him.
No,
Yeah.
it did. He was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Let me see what I can do for you guys. So he starts calling all these people and
Yeah.
screens just start to go. And then he's like, all right, I got you in there. I got you on. There's no seats left. I got you on.
He
So we're like,
saved
cool. We get on,
Naz is the flight attendant.
and Matt's got like three.
You're gonna have to serve
Yeah.
the peanuts.
I'm sitting like so. Your seats are like this way. Yeah. Hey, I'm sitting like this, facing the guy. I'm in the jump seat.
Yeah. No,
you weren't.
Yes.
I am literally in the jump seat.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
not a real seat. Like you have to
There's no
fold
seat.
it out
They
of the wall.
pull it down, and I'm sitting here. It's me and this other flight attendant. They're like, "Hey, do you want me to help you with the drinks or something?"
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
The
literally.
tallest man on the
Yeah.
flight gets
Yeah.
the
I
I
fold
was
out
like,
seat.
I was like this in the little jump seat. I was just like,
We were just glad
that
we
is
were on.
beautiful.
We were just glad we
Yeah.
were both on. There was a few moments where we're like, how is this gonna work?
Yeah.
Like start driving now.
I didn't know about the
Oh,
fold-out
yes,
seat. That is hilarious. Okay, very quickly, we want to show our love to the women. I know you guys.
Yes.
Matt's looking. I know you were on that game, calling that game on Thursday. What they've been able to accomplish, and then what they did on Saturday, down and then just clawing back for that title as well.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, I mean, going into that game, you're studying up. It's like they had not only never beat Middle Tennessee, but hadn't come within 20 points of them. Like
Yeah.
it's like they were, and I guess we were talking. We just fully expected they needed a great game. They needed to get over the hump. But who would have thought that would have happened? And it was unbelievable. It was not a fluke. They were as locked in as I've ever seen them. Every girl did their job to perfection. I mean, it was a complete they did not know what to do. You could see they were just dumbfounded like Middle was.
This doesn't happen to them.
We've
Right.
never been in this position.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And-
And you know why?
Yes.
That is
Bella
beautiful.
was on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bella was on the
Bella was
podcast.
on
Yeah.
the
It is
podcast.
not
She was unbelievable. I mean,
That's
she was hitting those turnaround
Yeah.
jumpers and then going inside.
some
And
tough shots.
That's the confidence
Some
the
real-
podcast gives you.
yeah, no
We
answer.
wonder.
I was in awe. It was absolutely amazing. A total just dismantling of them. And then you come off a huge win like that and go down in your next game because you can't get up for it. And they found themselves down 11 or 12,
Yeah,
make
early,
a
yeah.
comeback, and it's like they are just playing so well right now.
And
They could do it again
and
a
the
week.
best news for them is now you don't have Middle Tennessee or Western Kentucky
Yeah.
on your side of the bracket.
Oh,
Remember, Western
wow.
Kentucky beat Middle Tennessee earlier this
That's right.
year. Let those two beat each other
Yes.
up. Let them figure it
Right.
out, and you avoid both of them. So that's big for them
huge.
as well. Aside from just
Are we
congrats to Kerry Green
Yeah.
Are we
on
talking-
winning a
Are we
Are we
regular
talking
season.
the double? Are we talking the double?
double dance.
Are we talking the
The
double
Double
dance?
It could be. So all that to say, if you're still thinking about should I go to Huntsville?
Yeah.
Should I you got two number
Get
one
on the
seeds.
fold-out
Yeah.
chair.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
nope.
did it in
Let's
the
Let's go.
jump seat.
It's an easy drive. Get down to Rocket City.
Congratulations to Coach Green and the Lady Flames and Coach McKay and the Flames on those regular season titles. Just an incredible accomplishment. It's been so fun to follow and watch them. Guys, got anything else? Last final thought before?
We got to get rolling. We got to get rolling.
Be sure to check out Matt and Naz on the call. The first game
What
is
time is this? at?
6:30 on ESPN Plus
Correct.
between UTEP and Sam Houston. I know you guys are going to do a great job. Can't wait to listen and watch and feel the madness
Here
go
we go.
down.
It's going to be fun.
Here we go.
Safe travels. Thanks for your time, guys.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.